You know, they just totally took it and took it out of context and whatever. And what Howard Dean was saying to Abby Martin, I was very intrigued by what he was saying. I didn't agree with anything. Some of it was same old gobbledygook when you ask a politician something, but she doesn't mess around. And then she says her side of it, and I was just really impressed. She's a great interviewer. And let me see if I can find that, because I know Russian television, as long as I say where it comes from, they don't care. RT.com. But man, if you want to really find out, just cut to the nitty gritty. I watched Fox News, and hundreds of Islamists stormed government building in Cairo after brutal something. Breaking news. You don't see that too often. Here. And of course, Max Kaiser. He's great too. He's really on to Bitcoin right now. And he's no dummy. You big dummy. He's no dummy. So, you better watch what he says. But, I thought there were shows. Okay, yeah. Breaking the Set. Yeah, she's something. I mean, wow. I don't know if it's going to be on here, because I wanted to... You don't see anything here. Oh, yeah, there she is. Governor Howard Dean breaks the set. There it is. See if it... he's got to say her. Because it intrigued me. I don't like... Anyway, here's her intro here.
You live on $133 a month for food?
I should try it, because you know how fabulous I'd look? I'd be so skinny. I mean, Cameron adds 10 pounds. It really does. I would be looking great.
We really messed up. And we're all very sorry. I personally apologize to you that happened.
I am the worst journalist in the world!
The White House soup of the day. My favorite radio guy in Fort Lauderdale. It's minestrone chicken sausage.
I want you to watch what we're about to do, because you've never seen anything like this on television.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Abby Martin, and this is Breaking the Set. So we have a packed show for you guys today. I'll be speaking to Governor Howard Dean and economist Richard Wolff about everything from healthcare to drones to Reaganomics. Stick around, and let's break the set.
I want you to watch what we're about to do, because you've never seen anything like this on television.
Today, I had the chance to speak to former governor of Vermont, Howard Dean, one of the very few politicians who actually opposed the Iraq War in 2003. His opposition became a defining factor for his presidential run the following year. And although this may have helped him become the initial frontrunner, he didn't ultimately receive the nomination. Instead, he went on to chair the Democratic National Committee. And although he's been on the political sidelines for the last few years, his views have not been. Governor Dean has been vocal on everything from the healthcare debate to the use of drones. And that's exactly what we talked about earlier in an exclusive interview. Take a look. So who could forget, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, you probably don't want to hear it again, but who could forget the signifying moment of the 2004 presidential campaign with the infamous Dean scream? I wanted to play it and play the media's reaction to it.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House!
Dean's now in a statistical tie with John Kerry, but the trends suggest he will soon fall behind. When 57% of New Hampshire Democrats had a favorable impression of Dean, only 19% an unfavorable impression. But the day after Iowa, Dean's favorable number here dropped to 39%. His unfavorable number rose to 30%.
So there's the media saying that your poll numbers dropped significantly, but it was only after they were playing this ad nauseum.
Yeah, it's fun. I have a lot of fun with this, but it wasn't the significant moment of the campaign. The significant moment of the campaign was the fact that we empowered 1 million people to make the Democratic Party stop being a lapdog for George Bush.
Well, why do you think the media did this to you?
I think the media just looks for good stories. This was an interesting story. Nobody wrote about this who was in the hall at the time, because there was so much noise that it didn't seem unreasonable. What when the cable stations got it, what happened is the mic was plugged directly into the cable without any crowd noise. So it was, I suppose it's the television version of taking it out of context. It's not.
Well, I just hit the share. If you want to listen to more of that, I mean, this lady is just amazing with her interview skills, her opinions, and is a pretty damn good journalist. Lured me away from Fox. I don't even want to listen to them anymore. I tried watching that last night, and it's just sensationalized TV show that's spewing out a bunch of facts and don't really get down to the core nitty-gritty of the problem. They all talk about the symptoms and give their opinions, for the most part, and I just don't want to hear it. Where this lady just cuts right through it, right to the bottom of it. This is the problem. This is what's going on, blah, 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 and goes from there. So she comes out swinging and tries to knock you right on your ass, and I respect that, and I like that, and that's what I love about Abby Martin. She's got a great future out of her. So I encourage you to watch her show, Breaking the Set.
In the penal code, it says
this is
that
live
homosexual
off of
or
Russian television,
behavior, which is translated as being homosexual, could lead to a long prison sentence. And of course, in Russia nowadays, homosexuality is not criminalized, but what the government does is curtailing human rights that are usually used by homosexual people, but also by their allies. Because if you are a father or a mother of a gay son or a lesbian daughter, and you want to say in Russia that's all right as long as they are good citizens, as long as they are loving citizens and they care for their country, that would be wrong already in Russia if a minor could hear that, because it's considered to be propaganda.
Well, I think this is a contested issue, and unfortunately this law, as vague as it is, hasn't been tested in court yet. And
yeah, well, I don't really want to hear you talk about it. But what I do want to get into, sometimes I stumble on stuff that I really, really want to talk about, and the timing's perfect. I don't want to talk about that right now, though. But what I do want to talk about is I am on beforeitsnews.com, and I clicked on, what the hell did I click on? I clicked on featured stories, and here, Egypt, 327 killed, 2,926 injured, outrage in Canada over police brutality, the murder of Sammy Yatum, man, somebody's driving like a jerk in Chicago. No, it never happened. All kinds of Clinton Foundation going down. Beware, the Chinese are coming. Well, that's surprising me none. Meet your new boss. Oh, I love that song, by the way. Won't get fooled again. Yeah, listen to the words of that song. Like, really? Oh, man. That'd be my motto if I could have one. Meet your new boss. Buying large employers will enable China to dominate thousands of U.S. communities. You think? Look what happens when you lose your job, man. You lose your livelihood. So now the man's going to be the Chinese? I don't know, man. Let's see. Are you ready for a future where China will employ millions of American workers and dominate thousands of small communities all over the United States? Such a future would be unimaginable to many Americans. But the truth is that it is already starting to happen. Chinese acquisitions of U.S. businesses set a new all-time record last year, and it is on pace to absolutely shatter that record this year. China is on the rise, and America is in decline. If you doubt this, just read the following list of facts from which one of the previous articles entitled 40 Ways That China is Beating America. I don't know. I'm not going to go through all 40 of these. I don't have that much time. Maybe I'll save this for Sunday. But, well, these are really catching my eye. I'll read a couple of them. As I mentioned above, when you total up all the imports and exports of goods, China is now the #1 trading nation on the entire planet. Number 2, during 2012, we sold about $110 billion with a B dollars worth of stuff to the Chinese, but they sold about $425 billion worth of stuff to us. Oh yeah, that's lopsided by about 75%. That's wrong with that. That was the largest trade deficit that one nation has had with another nation in the history of the world. Number 3, overall, the U.S. has run a trade deficit with China over the past decade that comes to more than $2.3 trillion with a T dollars. China, number 4, China now has the largest new car market in the entire world. Number 5, China has more foreign currency reserves than anyone else on the planet. Number 6, China is the number 1 gold producer in the world. Wow. Number 7, China is the only number 1 gold importer in the world. Believe that too. Number 8, the uniforms for the U.S. Olympic team were made in China. Wow. 85% of all artificial Christmas trees are made in China. That was number 9. Number 10, the new World Trade Center tower is going to include glass that has been imported from China. All right, so there you go. There you go. And there's 30 other ones. And, oh, by the way, I got Skype hooked up, 815-209-9700. I'll be on for about another 20 minutes, and I'm going to go. I really doubt anybody. Yeah, nobody's in chat. Of course they're not. I will say hello anyway. And there you go. So you might want to think about buying some easy-to-learn, what is that crap called? Rosetta Stone. Start learning to talk Mandarin, is that right? Chinese. You might need it. We all might need it because even Warren Buffett said, you can't get into debt to somebody else because they're going to come take all your assets. And I'll be damned. Looks like it's happening. But what I wanted to get into here is the money. Now, that is pretty much was my motivator for squawking on the radio or whatever this is. Voice over Internet Protocol, yes. And a radio show, I guess. Internet radio. And it's just little old me, and that's it. So, not affiliated with anybody. I don't get a dime, and I'm paying for it out of my own pocket, which is $20 a month, which is pretty damn good. So it's a good deal for me. But, and it's better for you, because it's free. But here is, Bernanke just felt a chill down his spine. In April 2013, Japan announced a QE program of $1.4 trillion, an amount equal to roughly 25% of the Japanese GDP. To put this into perspective, the U.S.'s QE1, QE2, QE3, and QE4 programs, which were spaced out for over 4 years, an amount equal to roughly 16% of U.S.'s GDP. Japan announced a larger program relative to its economy all at once. Ooh, well, that's not too smart. It's called an overdose. The idea was that by throwing around a big enough amount of money, Japan's economy would finally wake up from its 20-year slumber and take off. No, that's... no. Sure. You know what? I like energy drinks. Can I just drink 6 of them? Because it'll really wake me up. No, I don't recommend that. I don't even know if I drink one anymore. I was drinking them and they were messing me up. So, coffee's strong enough for me. This effort has been an abysmal failure. Japan's second quarter GDP grew at just 0.6%, quarter over quarter, registering the single biggest growth miss in a year. Economists were expecting 0.9%, which, by the way, has already been revised lower. Put in plain terms, Japan announced the single largest QE effort in history. And not only did its economic growth projections, have to be lowered, but it is failing to even meet those lowered growth projections. You can read this yourself here. The Fed now clearly realizes that QE no longer impacts the economy in a meaningful way. Do you think? Really? Printing money doesn't really